Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to another quick video. Now, I'm doing this video since I'm doing this video today anyway, I won't be uploading Monday because I am doing this, of course, on Monday, and I have two videos that are trying to be uploaded to the channel, but I said I'm getting back on Vindictus, so I might as well help out the newer players and also some people that have been having some FPS problems and they want the game to look better for them. So today I'm gonna have three things that you're gonna need to download, and I'm gonna tell you what they do. One, which is NVIDIA Inspector. I will show you how the website looks in a second. That will fix your game's performance. It will boost the performance no matter how high you have the settings in the game. It will boost the performance and you will be at a lock 60. Secondly, it makes the game look good. If you have been playing the game for a long time, or basically you're new to the game, you would notice that the game looks decent. They did update the graphics I think 2 years ago, but at the same time it does not look as good as most games are looking right now with Unreal Engine 4 and vice versa, and etc, etc. This will fix that. It will give it a look that kind of looks like Unreal Engine 4 honestly, but since the game uses Unreal Engine 2, this is basically just going to give it a visual rework, but the game is still running with Unreal Engine 2 if I remember correctly, or is it the Havoc engine? I can't really remember what the engine is running right now, but basically this injection that we're about to do is about to fix the performance. Secondly, I'm going to give you a link also in the description to another website called Reshade Me, plus I will give you the preset that you will need to make everything look really good. Now with Reshade Me, you can use it also to boost the performance of Vindictus and any game that you put it on. Do know there are certain games that Reshade Me won't work on. For starters, there is Overwatch, Fortnite, and for right now the moment, Paladins. Right now the moment, those are the only three games that you cannot put Reshade Me on, which is very tragic, but unfortunately that is just the case. That's just how it has to be. Now, I'm gonna make this video short because honestly I'm gonna make it short because like I'm not getting on the game to show you shit. I'm gonna just give you screenshots, my settings, and how the characters and how the game should look to you. So I can make this very short because I don't want this to pass 10 minutes. So first things first, I'm going to show you the sites real quick. So what you're going to need, is to go to NVIDIA Inspector and download. The links will be in the description. Just follow me along. You're going to download this, and then after you do that, you're going to download Reshade Me. After you download Reshade Me and have it all set up, which I will show in a little bit, you're going to get this sweet effect on Sweet Effect Settings DB. You're going to go to this website that is going to be in the description, and you're going to get the SMAA plus HDR Adjusted Exposure and Bleach. Now with this makes the colors pop, because if you don't know, or if you don't really notice it, the game's colors do look a little bit washed out, but with this plugin, or this injection is what I should say, it will completely fix all that. So what you're going to want to do is download all three of these things that I just talked about. And now that you have downloaded them, we're going to start with NVIDIA Inspector first. Now I'm going to make this very fast because honestly I'm not going to explain everything, because I'm going to just go through everything fast, because like if I twiddle on something for too long, the video is going to be longer than it already is. So we're going to open up NVIDIA Inspector. There's going to be two downloads in the NVIDIA Inspector download. One is going to have a little rectangular square box. All you have to do is click on the gear on the side, on the right side, and you will be able to go right here. And the second one will actually just bring you straight to this. Now I'm going to go in full screen real quick so we can make this pretty fast. Now, real quick, we're going to do this real fast. Once you download this, every game that you have on your PC, there should be a file for it already, so you don't really have to actually make a file. But if a file for the game that you are playing, or you plan to put this on, let's just say Vindictus, since this is going to be about Vindictus. If you don't have it there, you're going to click here that says create new profile. You're going to call it whatever. I'm going to call it just normal standard Vindy. So after you name your profile, you're going to click OK. Then after you do that, you're going to go up top and it's going to say add application to current profile. Now once you click that, it will open your profile of where your games are at. If it does not, just just go to where your game's at. So like go into your PC, go into your local, and since I am on Steam, all my games are on Steam, I use Steam apps. So like basically go into program file x86, go into your Steam apps, common, and then you'll see all of your games there if you mostly use Steam. Now if you use the Nexon launcher, go to program files x86, go to Nexon, and then just go to it, and it should just be right there if you're using the Nexon launcher, but I use the Steam launcher. So basically, once you have added it to, once you open this file and it brings you to everything else where your game's at, you just click inside of your Vindictus file and go down to vindictus.exe. Now since I already got this profile assigned to this game, it's going to say it's already assigned to it. A profile is already assigned to it, so I cannot put this on it. So since I've already done that, I can delete it. But if you're new to it and this is your first time doing it, it will be applied to it. So after you do that, let me just go to my Vindictus one for it. I have it set as VindyNA. After you do that, you're going to do all of this that I have on the screen right now. You don't have to type anything out. They have can't speak English. They have drop down bars here, so like if you do not want to type it in, you can just go to it and just click it and you'll be okay. So we're gonna go through this very fast because I don't think we need to be on this for that long. So for ambient occlusion compatibility, you're gonna go to Aeon, which is AION on. It should be there, of course. Underneath that, you're gonna go to anti-aliasing compatibility. Now you're gonna choose Battlefield 2, Call of Duty 2, Far Cry, etc. If you cannot find it, it is above Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. Very easy. Now underneath that, you're going to go to anti-aliasing compatibility DX1X. What you're going to do for that is go down to drop down and put it at Bioshock 2. Underneath that, this is only for if you are running 2 graphics cards. But if you are running 2 graphics card, put this in. If you're not, you don't have to worry about it. But if you are skeptical about like you want it to work perfectly for you, then you can do it, but it's really not that important. So with this, underneath this, you just have to go Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, and underneath that Overwatch, and underneath that Fable Legend. Very simple. Now you're gonna go into sync and refresh. There's only like a couple of things you have to change here. You're gonna go to G-Sync application state, and you're gonna set that to force off. Do know most of these basically fixes the tearing when you don't have VSync on in the game. So that's the whole reason we're doing this, because you're not going to have VSync on in the game, of course, because that's just going to delay your clicks and everything else, and you don't want that. So once you do that, you go to G-Sync application state, set that to force off. Underneath that, you're going to go to maximum pre-rendered frame. You're going to set this to use the 3D application settings. Now what this does is this uses your graphics card. If you can go to 8, but honestly we're trying to get better performance, and honestly there's not a difference from having it at 8 and use the 3D application settings. There's no difference, no point. Just to make things easier for yourself, just go to preferred refresh rate, set it to highest available. Standard, it's going to be set to use the 3D application settings, but don't do that, just use highest available. And then underneath that, you're going to go to VSync here, and then you're just going to set that to force off. And then after you set that to force off, just go down to the VSync tier control and set that to adaptive. Now at default it's going to be set to standard, but all you got to do is set it to adaptive, and then it will just adapt to your game's refresh rate. So if it goes high and if it goes low, bam, it will just fix it. So like if it dips or if it like goes high past your monitor's refresh rate, you won't have the crazy screen tear, which is what a lot of people really hate, including myself. That is why I have this on. Now the next thing you're going to go underneath is anti-aliasing. Now with anti-aliasing, there's one important thing that you gotta do. If it's grayed out, that means you don't have to, but like if it's set to application control here, set it to override application setting. That is going to be an anti-aliasing dash mode. Underneath that, you're gonna go to anti-aliasing dash settings. Now with that, you're gonna set that to application control / off. The reason for this is basically certain games, when you apply this to, kind of shrinks your screen depending on how high this is. So it's best to have the game's own built-in anti-aliasing for this to actually fix it, so you don't have to deal with your screen being very small, because that's really annoying. A lot of games, after they updated this happens. So originally you would have this at 8x or 4x multi-sampling, so like you could just fix the anti-aliasing without adding any extra things on it. But ever since they updated it, it's just not great. So you're going to set that to application control/off. Underneath that, you're going to go to anti-aliasing transparency super sampling, and you're going to set that to 8x super sampling, which is the highest. I know you're going to see it and you're going to be like, what about all of these? Don't do any of these. If you click any of these, it will slow down your performance, and you do not want that. So after you do that, you only got a couple more things to do. Go down to texture filtering and just set texture filtering quality to high performance. That will actually give you the FPS that you really want. Underneath that, you're going to go to common, and you're going to set the ambient occlusion sends to performance. For your performance, of course. Excuse me. And then the last thing here that you're going to need to do is go to ambient occlusion usage and set that to enable. What that does is basically gives you the ambient occlusion effect that gives the game more shadows and more definition, which is what is important and what you want. So the last thing after we do that, you're gonna get reshade. Once you have it downloaded and you have it set up and everything else, it's gonna say select game to install or uninstall is from. Since Vindictus is a DX9 game, you're gonna do Direct 3D 9. Now, once you click it, it's gonna open your files of where your game is at. If it's not there and it's at the desktop, just follow what we said in the beginning. So you're gonna scroll all the way to your Vindictus profile. After you do that, you're gonna go into your file. Do know, since mine says ENUS, I play on the North American server, which is US and etc. So depending on if you're on the EU, on the Taiwan server, whatever, it will be different for you, but it's the same thing. Once you go into it, you're gonna look for vindictus.exe. You're gonna apply it to the game, and once it does it, it's gonna say select rendering API to game usage. You're gonna select Direct 3D 9, and after you do that, it's gonna say, do you want to override the existing installation or uninstall reshade? You click yes, and then you keep going. Do you wish to download a collection of standard effects from blah? You click yes, and then after that, it will load in, and it will do it in a second, depending on if you choose the right direct for your game. Now after you do that, you just click OK. It's gonna say edit reshade sends. Once you download the sweet effect like we talked about right here, once you download it and it's in there, you're gonna drag it to your file of the game that you're applying this to. So after you do that, just have it right there. Make sure you have performance on, FPS on, show clock, whatever you want. Don't skip the tutorial if you're new to it. If you're used to reshade, then you can skip the tutorial, but make sure you have performance mode on, and that will boost your performance. Now after you do that, just click OK, click that, and get on the game. Now once you get on the game, this is the last thing I'm going to say. Once you get on the game, it's going to be default for you to shift F2 to actually open up the reshade interface. Once you go on the reshade interface, these are the three things that you're going to apply. You're going to apply colorfulness. It's going to be there. So once you type it in the search bar, colorfulness should pop up right there. You're going to type in HDR. It's going to say Fig HDR. What this does is that it gives you a HDR effect. If you're on a standard monitor, it will make the colors look good, everything will pop more, and the game will just look vibrant and pretty. If you're on an HDR monitor, it will enhance your display of the game. So if you're on an HDR monitor, the colors and everything else will look even better. Now the last thing that we're going to talk about is SMAA. Now with SMAA, I recommend having a 700 graphics card and up all the way to the 20 series to be able to actually use this. What this does is that since Vindictus runs on a very old engine, and even if you have the game anti-aliasing at max, the game still has jagged edges. What this does is that it fixes that. But if you're on a lower end graphics card, unfortunately, it will tank your performance a little bit because it's pushing more anti-aliasing and more color and more things onto the game. It adds contrast, which is very important, and it makes the jagged edges in the game that the anti-aliasing in the game cannot fix. So take that. That's how you fix the game. That's how you fix the performance. That's how you make everything look good. And that's basically it. I've done this in the past, but unfortunately I deleted it because of just people annoying the shit out of me. So this is the only time I'm ever gonna do this. If you are having problems still, just rewatch the video, and then hopefully everything will be fixed for you. Because honestly, I was not really actually going to do this. I was just gonna stick to this and just keep this to myself. But I'm gonna get back on the game, and I might as well help some people out. So either way, that is it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helped you to make Vindictus run perfectly buttery smooth for you. And I'll see you in the next one. Now, last thing here. If you're having a little bit of FPS problem, if you're on a lower end GPU, just take off anti-aliasing on the game and just take off SMAA, and the game will just run perfect for you. Those two things are basically meant for GPUs that have good enough processing and everything else. If you're on a lower end, don't have those two things on, and then the game will just run at a cap 60 for you. So that's it. Hopefully I enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.